Thank you for watching Murder, Monsters, and Mysteries. Tonight we take a look at a mystery from the depths of our oceans and seas. Mermaids. There have been sightings of mermaids for hundreds, if not thousands of years. We're first going to take a look at some of the historical sightings. 2nd century Gaul. Mermaid corpses were found washed up on the beach. The governor of Gaul wrote a letter to Emperor Augustus about mermaids. And like this one, there are claims that go back as far as the 2nd century AD. The Hellenized Syrian writer Lucian has mentioned the possible existence of mermaids in his Natural History 9.4.9-11. Pliny the Elder has mentioned and describes numerous sightings of mermaids off the coast of Gaul. Mermaid corpses were often found frequently washed up on shore with their bodies covered in scales. He also comments that the governor of Gaul even wrote a letter to Emperor Augustus to inform him about these mythical creatures. Blackbeard's logbook. One of the most famous and feared pirates in history is Blackbeard, and he mentions mermaids in his logbook. He instructed his crew on many voyages to keep away from certain waters that he called enchanted because of mermaids in the area. Blackbeard was a brilliant man and an even more brilliant pirate, so his sightings should be taken very seriously. Christopher Columbus witnessed mermaids. The famous explorer is said to have spotted 3 mermaids off the coast of Hispaniola. He said, unlike the folklore, these creatures are not beautiful, that they have masculine features on their faces. Historians believe Christopher Columbus had seen manatees, but nobody really knows. Japanese soldiers in the Second World War off the coast of the Kai Islands of Indonesia had a creature that they were familiar with. They called it the orang-ikan, translated as man-fish. During World War II, the Japanese soldiers stationed there learned that this was no myth. These soldiers were stationed in a 555 square mile area in the island, and they had multiple claims of encounters with these man-fish. The Japanese soldiers recorded not one but many different sightings, and they claimed to all have seen the same thing. An amphibious creature that was mostly seen to be in the sea more than on land. The marine creatures were 150 centimeters tall, and they had spikes on their spines, shoulders, and necks. They were said to have light pink skin, similar to salmon, and a mouth like a carp. They didn't have a tail, but instead had 2 frog-like long fins and long arms. There was one sighting where a troop of soldiers came to a natural lagoon. The lagoon seemed normal until they saw some thrashing in the water. Suddenly, an orang-ikan jumped out of the water and onto a rock. It turned, faced the soldiers, and let out a weird gurgling noise. Another creature was seen in the water swimming towards them. They didn't seem friendly, and not knowing the creature's intentions, the soldiers started shooting at them, but the creatures escaped and disappeared out of view. A sergeant by the name of Mr. Taro requested the villagers to inform him if any of the orang-ikan were captured dead or alive. The soldiers summoned the general soon after, and he saw these creatures with his own eyes. 1967, Main Island. A ferry with tourists was astonished to spot a blonde mermaid on a beach. The people who saw this creature said she seemed to be eating raw salmon while enjoying the waves splashing around her. There was a similar sighting that same week, although a lot of people didn't believe it was real. Charles White from the Undersea Garden was desperate to prove her existence and offered $25,000 for the mermaid's capture, even going as far as saying that he would offer a room for the mermaid with whatever she likes. But nobody was able to capture or find the mermaid, and as time passed, the story died. 1998, Kauai. Jeff Leacher, a diver who is a videographer at the Jack Diving Locker of Kauai, claims that he not only saw but came into brief contact with a mermaid. He was about 20 minutes off the coast of Kauai when he saw what looked like a woman just 10 feet away, swimming with a pod of dolphins and keeping up with their fast pace. He thought this was strange. Suddenly, she jumped into the air, revealing her fishtail. There were 10 people on the boat that day that all saw the same thing. They were able to see her jump twice before she disappeared into the water. Litcher, being a brave man, dived into the water to take some photos, hoping he would get a picture of the mermaid. He was unable to, though. But a short time later, the mermaid brushed against him underwater and then swam away. Litcher was able to snap a couple photos after he brushed against her as she swam away. These images were submitted to 3 high-profile photography labs who analyzed them and said the images were real and hadn't been tampered with. Curriette Hain Beach. In 2009, a large group of onlookers said that there was a creature that resembled a young girl who could often be found on the beach doing tricks in the water. They saw her frequently over a number of days. It took a while for the news to spread, but once it did, the public got involved. Then the government got involved. They issued a $1 million reward for anyone who could provide solid proof of the mermaid's existence. Capturing the mermaid was not necessary, and just a photo would suffice, providing it was a good one. When the news got out, NBC got out to do some investigation of their own with the film crew in Curriette. They filmed morning and night, above and below the waters, hoping to get some kind of footage of the mermaid. Then, late one night, the crew claimed to have seen a human figure dipping into the water. They did their best to follow the mermaid and capture it on camera, but it was to no avail. She disappeared below the waves, and they didn't get the proof they were looking for. The sightings go on and on. India, this strange creature with a fish face, multiple female appendages, and a fish bottom is claimed to have been found and put on display. Is this a hoax or shocking evidence of a mermaid? The Zimbabwe incident. Children were playing by a dam in Zimbabwe. They saw what they thought was a fish struggling against the dam. They dived in to catch the fish, but to the horror of onlookers and the children, it wasn't a fish. It was a mermaid. Witnesses say the mermaid dragged the children under the water. After a few moments, the children managed to struggle to the surface of the water. But the mermaid came up, looked at the onlookers as they screamed, and dragged the children into the depths a second time. This time, they didn't survive. The Minnesota mermaid. It appears this mermaid was being collected by government agents in hazmat suits. They put it into an unmarked vehicle and drove away. The Ladysmith mermaid. This woman claims to have found a mermaid on the beach at Ladysmith. She apparently helped it back into the water and it swam away. She says it spoke Afrikaans. In Mexico, they have regular sightings of mermaids in caves. In fact, in this one area, they see them so often they've even erected a statue. There's even physical evidence. The Danish Museum has the body of a mermaid on display. Is this a clever hoax, or the real preserved corpse of a mermaid? So what do you think, guys? Seems like a lot of credible people have seen mermaids. Hard to consider them all mistaken or foolish. And our oceans are almost limitless as far as space goes. There could be anything hiding down there. Thank you for watching Murder, Monsters, and Mysteries. If you enjoyed tonight's video, please like and subscribe as we'll be uploading more regularly.